Hi guys, this is Jenny on the phone. The room is muted.
Oh, sorry about that, Jenny.
Hi.
No problem. Hi.
Would you laugh, everybody? Goodness, our boisterous bunch today.
And then that's the thing a little bit longer.
I'm sure he has your email already.
Yes.
Because sometimes the citizens don't, we don't have, we can contact them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good to have it, but he didn't have pens for his name, that pass to the wall.
You know what I mean? I did. So if you know what you're doing, it's what they do. All you gotta do is I'll just say, push it down, hold it down, and go to nothing, and your foot and shovel. And I'll tighten it up and I'll say, release.
Ooh, doesn't work. Fired up again.
It's easy to do.
It's been fine if you're
Fired up again?
Yeah.
Oh, is it because you're doing art in the park?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Friends of the Dog Park or the Friends of Candy Parks, Karen Hawkins posted the park committee's latest project that they're gonna do art in the park. Yeah, well, I guess that's stirred up the dog park people. Why? It's not, we're not spending any money on that.
Awesome.
Jeez, I guess I'll have to go look later.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's good stuff.
Oh my, I have not been plugged in for the last 2
That's been
days.
talked about for over a decade. I was on the Parks Committee 10 years ago.
We haven't killed the dog park. We just like
They have to leave a little early.
The problem is.
We just remanded it back to the committee for review site.
They need to put it in the city limits, which would help.
Approve the
Right?
nice.
Yeah, that would help us a lot. It's difficult when they start.
Originally, somebody donated land,
Yeah, it's still the county.
And it's not even in the UGB out here. It just makes it difficult. We can't supply with utilities.
get my email?
But-
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. Thank
Yeah, we own it, but it's not in our city.
We try to.
So that wasn't explained that.
Yeah.
To the one person.
We've tried to explain it. Now, you get it, let me tell you that. Some people would tell it to, but they're like not understanding.
Yeah, we do.
So,
All right, we're ready to go when you are.
Okay.
right.
You've got,
We got four.
well, on Zoom, you have Jenny and
And Eric.
Eric.
And Eric.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, you have like five.
okay, yeah, we've got,
I'll take four of them.
we need four, but we've got five. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's now 8:34 on Wednesday, February 8th. Welcome to the Canby Traffic Safety Commission. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's nice and warm, wherever you are. Let's go around and introduce everybody. My name is Bob Canberra. I am the chairperson for the Traffic Safety Commission.
Clint Coleman, traffic safety member.
Spencer Pollock, Canby Public Works.
Tracy Hensley, council president, liaison to this commission.
Jerry Nelson, City of Canby.
Jackie Jones. Commission member.
Craig Carpenter, Rick Brown, citizen.
And online, Jenny.
Hi, good morning. This is Jenny Driscoll, committee member.
Eric,
Good morning. This is Eric Van Zant, committee member.
and I believe Brianne.
Good morning, everyone. Brianna Adada, Planning Liaison.
Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. And, oh, I'm sorry, Dan, you're
Yes, I'm here.
good. Welcome. All righty. We'll proceed to, has everybody had a chance to review the notes that Jenny provided for the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes of the January 11th, 2023 meeting.
I second that.
Okay, Clint and Eric. All those in favor say aye.
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 Air approved. Just joining us now is, introduce yourself.
Yeah, that's sorry.
No problem. The minutes have been approved. Thank you very much. Moving on to citizens input. Gonna go with Mr. Brown and Mr. Carpenter. You're here for us to talk about South Lurch. And we were able to do a, thanks very much to Public Works, they put up their devices and we ran it for approximately 13 days. Started part of a day, went to the, rounded up to 13 days. Ran from the January 17th through the 30th. And humbly took all that data that we and try to put it into a recognizable, understanding report. I am not a professional analysis person, okay, but this tends to give us some data that helps us to kind of look at things. And as can be seen, we divided it into the northbound traffic and the southbound traffic. Northbound traffic was, my understanding, would be traffic flowing from the river down to the school, and the south going the opposite way. And so on an average, there at over that 13 days, there was 1,400, close to 1,500 cars going northbound. And as you can see, that averages about 110 cars on a 5-day period. And if you go 7 days, we put that there because Saturdays and Sundays tend to be less traffic, so you get a concept. And as you can see, the dominant cars in this particular area, 1,477 were sedans, as opposed to this minimal truck traffic and motorcycle traffic. Now, my understanding, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, the main concern was northbound traffic.
Well, the main concern was traffic on March.
But I thought that one of the main concerns was northbound traffic coming from the river down to the school.
And I think it usually tends to be a little bit quicker, people trying to get, correct, but I've seen it both ways, but yeah, I think heavier traffic is getting out.
Yeah.
But still.
And our analysis of that, of the northbound traffic, is that we just do not see a big flow of one speeding cars. As you can see in the speed breakdown, 90%, 90.5% of the cars were traveling within the speed limit, 8 to 25. 9% was traveling within 5 miles of the speed limit, which brings you up to a 99.5. Now those 5% of over the speed limit is technically speeding, but in all likelihood,
I think the majority of the full breakdown, the majority of the people that were speeding by 1 or 2 miles an hour. So it'd be a difference of 26 or 27 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
So
Does the speed they go over make any difference? It's still speeding.
I do agree, but in all likelihood, police officers wouldn't give them a ticket.
Well, on that note, it's interesting that you guys separated the northbound and southbound traffic, and I think that's a very valid thing. We spoke before about the northbound traffic being an issue because there is no stop sign on
Yes.
on 14. And this proves, it's very, very evident that they're not going very fast going southbound because of the lack of speeding we see here in comparison to northbound. And there was talk about doing some other routes.
Well, in our perspective, okay, and I can show you comparisons, okay, because everything is a comparison. This is a street that does not have a traffic problem.
I'm sorry, doesn't have a what?
By the data, anyway.
Doesn't have a significant traffic,
Oh, okay.
okay? And I gladly give you folks some comparison streets. I mean, you know, such as even Baker that we just did. It's within their travel or their car flow. Pick it up. Let's talk about it. Baker, North Baker, had a traffic of 1,600. Okay, a lot more cars, not that much more, but a lot more. So it's comparison. And their traffic flow is just about the same, which gives us not very many alternatives to deal with.
Is it residential?
It is residential, very much like yours. Any case, let's go on to the southbound. There we go. Okay, southbound, there actually is more traffic going on the southbound than there is going northbound, which I thought was kind of interesting. Cars flowing from the school area to the neighborhoods, which is kind of weird because to actually get through to any place else, you have to weave through the whole thing.
I think a lot of that has to deal with this school zones as well. Nobody wants to do 20. So
Yeah.
they'll zip through the neighborhood. Our, you know, and we appreciate all that. Our huge concern is if we just had a stop sign or some sort of thing on 14 and large, which I heard all kinds of things why we can't, but if we could. And then with 160 houses behind us, and they've got streets coming into 16 up there, and people cutting through, you know, in that route too. Lastly, don't you find that during the summertime, maybe you've got more traffic and higher speeds in the summertime with the better weather? Points to ponder.
It's something to ponder. We could revisit this area if you come back to us to remind us. We could run the numbers again. My experience in doing all these studies in these streets is that the traffic tends to drop a little bit during the summertime. People are on vacation, parents taking kids to school, they tend to drop. But that doesn't mean that you don't have a unique situation that won't, you know, need to be further looked at, and you should come back to us if we can do this again.
Yeah, I understand your point about that also, so even though it may be a little bit less traffic, people tend to go faster when it's nicer. So if you look at percentages of cars going through, then I would bet that the percentage goes up. Again, I've seen from the new construction that's going in south of 16th, and they punched a couple of roads that end up on 16th.
Correct.
Yeah, that connect to 16th. And I think it's just going to get worse. And that's why I guess we're bringing this up in the first place, is that, I mean, nobody can predict the future, but you know, it's like water, you know, the easiest way to go, the water's gonna go. And that's our concern. But we live down towards the end of Larch, when they're really building up speed, you know. And I've noticed driving tendencies in Canby alone. People are, you know, yellow means go faster. We don't stop very well I watched somebody blow the stop sign there at by Gwen's the other day. It's just, if there's not more control, I just see it amping up, and that's where we're headed with all this.
Is there something we could do? Is there something we could do as an association to maybe put in speed lumps, like we will not call? Or is there some enforcement, like with a sign that can be put in their residential or something like that? Because it's just, to me, that's 235 cars in a 17-day period that it exceeded, whether it be 2 miles an hour over or 6 miles an hour. It's just, it's obviously it's that there's a lot of people speeding there. Putting a sign on 14th could help. Maybe putting slow signs on this. Put one in my front yard. I don't care. I mean, it's a serious situation. It's going to get worse because we've got kids, grandbabies, and old farts like me that walk those streets. And you know, if it doesn't get under control, we're concerned about something happening.
I have a question for the, Jerry, in a neighborhood of this size around Canby, is there ever, do we have any where there's 15-mile-an-hour speed limits, or is that just not?
We just have never done anything like that. It's just.
Other idea that I might suggest is, you know, we talked about raised crosswalks, you know, they are valuable. I would say as a homeowners, it would be good for you to go thoroughly around the neighborhood and identify, you know, where would be the most suitable locations to have those where you could safely cross from sidewalk to sidewalk. And you know, and so you're incorporating a sidewalk with a raised crosswalk to slow everyone down. You don't think of that idea?
I don't know where that would work on Larch unless you put it on either end of the streets. If you're going southbound, there's a stop sign on 14th to go left. If you're going northbound, there would be no sidewalk until you got to 13th. Not even one on your street.
So what, a crosswalk?
A crosswalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could put a bump in the middle or whatever, you know, halfway down on each side.
So where would the stop sign go?
So like no stop sign, but what if you had like a raised crosswalk here? Would that be a sensible place?
What's the start? I mean, I think.
We get a lot of our traffic. If you go on 14th and keep going to your right, there's another development that's there. What's it called? Toffee Farm. We get an awful lot of our traffic from that way. It's a direct route for that because it doesn't have a bunch of stop signs.
I can.
So instead of turning right and going through the loops in the middle of the
I
pine.
think I can explain the southbound traffic lights more.
Mr. Dale's house.
The southbound traffic, there's more southbound traffic than northbound traffic, right?
Yes.
I believe that's because of the signal.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no protected left turn. People,
Yeah, and
I know that because I use it. I go through there.
And, you know, I think the northbound traffic is somewhat affected by that too. I mean, you know, people coming down the road, hang a left to kind of avoid the stop sign and come through and are willing to weave through the town to get out to eventually to Ivy. I mean, you know, I'm hoping that someday that intersection light will be renovated and relooked at, you know, as far as its sequencing. And that's part of this whole problem in that area.
I noticed on one of your notes also that on Ivy, we're proposing to put the speed limit, what you get approved from the county, to drop it from to 35. Man, I'll tell you, that is a good idea because there's an awful lot of people with that new development going in there. That's a lot of traffic, is what that is. Yeah, a lot of it.
Any comments from anybody else?
Well, one question I'll just throw out is, have you explored like other developed neighborhoods like Villebois? I mean, sometimes you can get some really good ideas from other built out neighborhoods and what calming ideas.
I grew up in Lake Oswego and I was driving through the roads, the old roads. And there's one road up there, it's called Upper Drive, and it's a long straight road, and they put gentle speed humps. And my wife and I were commenting about how even if it's just a little painted thing with the hump, and so I think you've got one on 13th as well with the raised sidewalk there. But that seemed to be quite a deterrent for me as a driver, seeing a hump. And you don't know how big that hump is and so on and so forth. It's not a bump, it's just a gentle swell, if you will.
I'm sorry, I missed the last meeting. You gentlemen were here or whatever, but what is the specific request?
We are concerned about the speeding down Larch between 16th and 13th. And it's sometimes problematic when there's kids out and so on and so forth. That's our big deal.
So are you requesting enforcement? Are you requesting like speed
well-
bumps, or what is the request for your, what's your?
In your mind, what's the perfect solution?
Yeah,
A help would be to put the stop sign, have a stop sign on 14th for people traveling northbound onto Larch.
what's the situation with that, Spencer?
Kind of my reasoning was, and Clint has talked about this before too, is that stop signs are not intended to be traffic calming. They're supposed to help with traffic flow. That was my,
And who lives in them two houses?
and that was the other
That's-
thing, is with the driveways right there.
Yeah, that, when this subdivision was going in, I looked, that's why I was curious, because we looked at this when this intersection, until that goes through,
Mhm.
concerned me. But I don't know if a stop sign's the answer. I would hate to put it in and have an accident or get two other people in here.
Really matters.
Well,
if you get
yeah,
a
but
traffic.
people come around that corner pretty quick too. and it's
Yeah.
not
I
a-
live near a stop sign.
That's when you're getting.
It's noisy.
I'm sorry,
On
what?
13th, yeah.
I live next to a four-way intersection with a stop sign. And it's very dangerous for people trying to back out, or people run the stop
Yeah.
sign and then it's just
Or you wait 10 minutes. to get
Well,
out the
yes, I
driveway.
just wanted.
Here again, I mean, a stop sign means stop too, so. I mean, I understand people's habits of.
No, I mean, I
running
thought it
stop
was there,
signs,
just-
But it would at least, even if they ran the stop sign, it would get them to slow down before they got on the Larch.
Mm,
And that's where we see this higher speeds going northbound on Larch.
And there's one driveway really that's close to that stop sign.
The only way, my concern with it is I could go either way on putting it in right now, honestly. But in the future, it's gonna make it a problem when that road opens up,
Mhm.
Which road?
taking it away.
When 14th punches through.
Yeah, when 14th punches through, taking that away is gonna be a huge liability too.
Well,
I mean-
well, 14th isn't gonna punch through to Ivy.
There's houses there.
There's houses.
Well, but I mean, in the whole, that's set up, and you look down on the other side, it's all gonna connect, that road's gonna connect.
Yeah, so you go Larch and then you go half a block and then you go, and that's gonna go through as well to 16th eventually.
Yeah, it's just because the whole traffic study was done on this whole thing, that's what it would have to go back to DKS or someone to see what the impacts would be.
Well, we're mainly here just to bring it to people's
Yeah.
attention.
No,
Yeah.
I don't have the
Yeah.
answers because I'm
I'm
not.
not trying to prove
I guess-
your
So who's
concern.
about 13th and Ivy,
Uh,
that corner?
The whole issue about,
Well, it depends on what they do. There's two scenarios. If they put a memory care in there, it messes the whole thing up. And the road, it most likely will stop and it'll be an exit onto Ivy and an entrance and an exit onto 13th and Ivy. And then this down here by the Grovies will cut over and tie into 14th if that goes on. If they keep it residential, that will go, there'll be another, they will exit out through 14th. But no matter what, 14th someday will be connected. Unless something drastic goes on in there.
So you have to
14th will be
blow out
connected.
houses.
The two will be
So that
connected.
house next to Sassy, that's Sassy's house.
Yeah,
Yes,
these
it is.
will be connected.
My God, you'd be taking out the Dinsmore house.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, and we kept, the one over here, but a lot of them got taken out, depending on what happens there, but that's the plan, just the.
So some
The whole
people are gonna
neighborhood.
lose their
And
property.
any exit to
But I
13 will
guess-
be problematic,
It would be on step.
because it'd be so close to the intersection. I mean, that's gonna be it.
Well, can we at least request maybe another traffic study later in the summer?
Certainly.
The traffic.
You know, just
system.
keep-
How many accidents have been there too? Have we had anyone check into that?
We'll talk about that next. I mean, I did all the accidents. Sent you guys a spreadsheet. Now, Jackie's working on
Yeah, I
that,
was saying recently.
but I did a preliminary spreadsheet with all the accidents for the last 3 or 4 months. Granted, it doesn't give enough history, but it's all I could collect right now. And I'm not too sure if any of, on Lurch,
Yeah.
there was any
I'm not
accidents.
either. No,
Or in that area.
Sure.
But
Where-
we can obviously, you come back to us to remind us, because it's hard to put it on the calendar.
Sure.
It'd be better if you come back and just tell us and we'll put it on,
Okay.
you know, in the summertime, and we gladly do that. The issue about speed humps
It's very controversial.
is unfortunately in this city has become a very controversial issue. All these people are laughing and smiling at me. Because
We do have one on Birch, but boy, that was a tall
we
order.
put in speed humps on
It's unbelievable.
Birch.
Sure, yeah. No, I'm familiar with that.
And,
We still hear about it.
and there was such a division in the neighborhood about it. And the fire department, to tell you the truth, was opposed to it, because when they're driving quickly down the road, they have to slow down.
Those guys on the back gotta hang on.
Yeah. So it does, traffic studies show that it has slowed the traffic down on Birch. But it has created a nightmare for the city that we have not been able to approach the city, both the commission and the administration, about looking at it again, because it is so controversial. We couldn't even get the neighborhood to support it.
Well, that's what the country is right now anyway, but I mean, it's, so bottom line, if we come back in the summertime, make another request, I mean, we appreciate what you got. Don't get us wrong. But,
And we're not trying to minimize your concerns, okay?
well, I know
So-
for us, there's all kinds of neighborhoods in mine, I'm sure Redwood's got it, you know, all those places down, but.
If your association, well, correct me if I'm wrong, if your association, oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, are we also gonna be doing a new traffic system?
TSP, so just telling Jerry, we're doing a TSP
So that should include all of it.
with the development going in on 13th and 90, and all the houses. I'm terrible with north, south, east, west, that way of Ivy. That's gonna be a major focal point of the TSP.
What development's going on 13th and 9th?
Is that memory care?
It potentially could be a memory care.
Well, I was told that it went down.
It's in hold.
It's on hold.
Oh,
So
they were gonna use
the other thing,
their own
guys,
property.
is even before we even considered even looking into spending taxpayers' money on this, I would really like someone to talk to the people that live right there.
At the corner of the step sign.
Yeah, because that would impact our city council and my management team hard if we put
If those
something in,
neighbors at
and
14th and Larch.
if they did not want it or hated it or
I
anything
think
like
that's a
that.
police officer, actually.
If they supported it, this committee could maybe look at going further into having city staff look into that.
Okay.
So are you saying that the opinion of one person can affect the whole neighborhood?
Well, you guys are doing the same thing.
I've seen that.
You know what I mean? You're gonna affect the whole neighborhood by putting a stop sign in too. I mean, it's opinion, well, I'm seeing, it's gotta be fair for everyone, but if it causes, it's gonna make a lot of noise for that person on the corner. It's gonna change their livability, the braking, the stopping, the gassing, the speeding up. And if you had their blessing, if they were into it, that makes it even easier to look into it, is what I'm saying. I mean, I don't wanna say that they have any say on how this goes and all that, but if they come in here and start if they come in and start beating our city
I'm
council.
sorry, that's how I
office-
took it, so.
Yeah, no, they would not have a say in it, but it would make it easier for if you had everyone involved in this.
Now, you can look at different, if a neighborhood want to put up a sign, so like the one that going down South Maple, that new sign that went out, you know, slow down, there's cars, kids, da, 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 da.
Sure.
Oh, going out to the country club.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is possible, right?
We could definitely look at that again.
And if you guys want to fund that sign, you know, as a neighborhood,
That's the association, yeah.
we could easily put it onto a, I would direct you to the, you know, going down Maple Street, down toward the country club.
Oh, sure.
They have a nice little orange sign that says slow down, and they've got 3 pictures. They got
Bicycles.
bicycle, golf cart, and kids.
How much are we looking at?
I just like don't
Within-
want to have.
Spencer, how much was that sign?
A sign, I don't know how much that sign in particular was, but a sign, a 30 by 30 sign is, with a post is. I think he just did a price update. It's probably close to 100, 150.
Oh, okay. That's cool. If we can get person to do that. Well, we'll do some research on that then.
And if the police force would like to have more surveillance there, they're welcome to park at my driveway. It's the 5th out down the right-hand side, which is a good spot because that's just about where everybody's hit. Steep, just about where you put your sign up. Just about my yard.
Okay.
Yeah, and you guys, I don't want to be come across just rude or anything like that, like we're gonna do that, but I would want to protect you also if you live there. You know what I mean? And then having, maybe the whole group's into that, but like I told Spencer, I'm not scared of this. I mean, I'm not scared to look into this further for you guys.
Okay,
And
well, I
the
appreciate
more I
that.
think about it, but I would hate to have it, I would hate to have it be a loss for you guys and have someone upset you, a neighbor upset at you guys because you guys were just trying to help the community.
We'll, next HOA meeting, we'll clear it with the,
And that's what I was gonna recommend, because I've worked with the HOAs over there a lot in the past. I haven't lately. I don't know, everyone's been quiet. What are they talking to you, Spencer?
Well, I hear you guys are gonna go to the
That's what I would
to
talk
know about the sign. You're gonna come back to us in summertime to get a relook at that. And we are willing to continue to look at this issue in increments. You know, I mean, certainly as they develop that whole back portion, you know, they're gonna put in a whole neighborhood back there someday.
Oh, I have one more thing to add about that, what you're saying. Are you in the same HOA as Tofty?
No.
Okay, because
No, Dinsmore, I think, has their own.
Tofty Farms HOA came to traffic safety. Were you in that, involved in that? And they actually bought the stop signs over off of 14th, somewhere over 14th and somewhere in there. Do you remember that, Spencer?
I believe it's at 14 that was changed.
You could even ask for their minutes from their HOA, see how they went about it, and that was Greg Ellis.
So you're saying legally, we could put in an association. You guys have no objection to us putting in stop signs?
No, we do,
You do.
but you would need but it would help, like, at the time,
we had back.
you had backing, you went through a process, you included your whole neighborhood, your HOA, and then they, and then they took it, they took it through the whole process, the Traffic Safety Commission supported it, and then they got final approval from the city administrator,
Okay.
and they paid for it. And I think Tim Dale was,
Yeah, lives on 14th February.
yeah, I think he was a part of that.
And he was the part of the board at the time too. I
Yeah,
think.
so that's, they, in the speed bumps, these poor gentlemen spent years working on getting those. And so it's a big, we want to go through the process because it's a big decision.
Sure.
So,
And that's fair. Okay, we've never done this before,
Yeah.
so
But
we don't know until we.
yeah, this is the right.
Probably not wasting anybody's time.
And I never thought that there would be a four-way stop right out here. And this team did it, which is awesome. So
That
took
a lot of work.
that took a lot of work, yeah.
Does it make any difference that they're on the corner of Larch and 14th? that there's a stop sign on Larch Street
It does,
going southbound?
it does, and that's where it's beyond Spencer and I, or our city administrator, this one here, we went through engineering, we looked into everything just to make sure, because if something does happen, we don't want to put the city at risk. And so,
Because we have a stop sign on Larch Street.
Yep.
Going south. We're proposing to put another one right across the street. And the only thing on the right-hand side is the old house.
That's a Dinsmore house.
One house there, Chief. That's it.
It's a Dinsmore house.
Yeah, there's a stop sign there.
Can I throw out another idea? What do y'all think there at the end of March, where you're coming into 14th, what if you just have a really nice crosswalk initially? And just as a subliminal message to you, slow
Paint
down.
a crosswalk down,
Yeah.
so it looks like, oh.
Is that a common area where you cross?
Yeah, it is, yes.
And then you could have one over here on this side shoot too. So I would recommend you look all around your neighborhood and identify where the most suitable
You're right on the yellow dots right there.
crosswalk would
That's
be.
the,
Yeah, if you painted across,
I meant the other way, across Larch. Here, yeah.
it would draw eyes at the stop sign, but not require a stop.
And then I think
I
some
can't argue that. That
creative
makes sense, too.
signage in the
I mean,
neighborhood that's a free.
Yeah, it's a start.
Good.
Okay.
So you can talk to your association.
We'll make enemies at the HOA.
yeah, exactly.
no, I get it. We don't want to upset the police officers. either.
Yeah.
You guys are everybody.
Is it a Canby police person?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Okay. Well, would you come back to us?
We will.
After you
Sure.
start? Thank you.
looks like we got that.
Thank you for your time.
Looks like they got that stop bar at Crooked too.
All right.
It does look so.
We'll get out of here.
Were you used to saying that?
No, I'm kidding. I'll be-
I just said I was gonna
That's all right.
do it.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Are you planning to come back next month or the month after? You don't know. So
Well, I'm
put it
gonna
on
be-
the agenda.
No, I don't think we need to be on the agenda. I think we need to get a hold of our HOA committee, where the board knows when that's gonna happen.
Okay,
And then we'll get some more information from our neighborhood. And then, so we'll come back maybe in the summertime sometime.
okay.
But we appreciate what you've done.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, Dan, you're on. Dan Eber there?
You're muted, Dan. There you go.
I am, Bob. How are you this morning?
We are all fine. and Good to see your smiling face.
Well, it's good to be. I'm sorry I couldn't be at the meeting. My wife and I both tested positive with the Chinese cruds, so we are homebound.
Thank you very much for thinking of us.
So anyway, just moving forward in talking with some of the neighbors, majority of them, we would like to see something. I have not had a chance to talk with Spencer regarding what his thoughts are on the 6th Avenue and North Baker corner there. But they would like to see some type of mitigation, varying anything from a stop sign to at least painted lane designations to get the traffic off the inside of that corner, keep people from cutting that corner. So that's kind of where we're at. I did not listen to the last meeting, so I don't know if there was any further discussion on this, but that's kind of where the neighborhood is at.
Can
The trees up, right?
The trees have been.
Can I throw out a suggestion? What if we were to schedule a field trip to go out to that location and really, I mean, its aerial views are very helpful. But to look at, meet with Dan and some of the other folks and just really talk about some different solutions. I think if we were there, it would, I know that's helped us in other locations.
Well, we can certainly do that. But Spencer, what's the feeling of the public works about right there on 6th?
Right,
That's it, right
Right
there. Okay, because technically 6th stops, right?
Six,
Technically,
6 does stop at Baker, and Baker,
Yeah.
Well, the street itself.
Yeah,
ends.
and it turns into Baker.
It turns into Baker. And then Baker to the south is a one-way, and Baker to the north is a typical two-way.
I know that's kind of weird.
It is a very weird and unique, and looking at the traffic counts that you would summarize is like you had just said too, is that it's low traffic. I did reach out to the engineer and had them look at it just to see, you know, 'cause you had talked about wanting to put a stop sign in. They said the stop sign would have to go clear back here if we did decide to go that route, to where people would be required to stop way before the intersection,
What?
The curb.
the curve of
It's
the
a
road.
big sweeping curve, actually just drove through there yesterday.
It is a
Through the
very-
lollipop field.
It is a very long sweeping curve, and so the stop sign has to go clear back here. And so I don't
Would
think,
the stop sign have a stop bar as well?
yes, yeah, the stop sign and stop bar would be clear back here,
But you can't see,
but you
Baker,
can't see
so you
anything.
have to pull up,
Stop and then you pull up.
and stop again, or just go, and yeah.
Another idea that I was thinking of, and you see this more in cities where, you know, they have prominent bike lanes, is they'll actually paint the pavement like a green color. And so I was thinking that, would that be a possibility where you know, identify areas where it's safest for pedestrians and bicyclists to walk and potentially cross? And would it be eligible to put down some of the painted paint on the asphalt?
Sharrows, like share the roads.
It's a wide road, so I don't know that putting sharrows down, I mean, we could, but for how wide it is, I don't know.
So
It's not
is that the concern? Like people are walking and people are coming around the corner. Gotcha.
either people taking this corner too fast this way, or people coming south, turning and cutting the corner short.
Yeah, coming in.
Yeah, there's no sidewalk there.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking, you know, if we were to go out
Maybe
there
we put a
and we
sidewalk.
got a sense of, you know, where would a pedestrian typically cross over Northwest Sixth, and, you know, just try to imagine it from a homeowner standpoint, and, you know, because maybe at the moment, I think Dan has said, you know, they don't have a lot of little kids with school buses heavily in the neighborhood, but, you know, that can change and over time. And I think,
So why don't we schedule us going to visit the place?
yeah, so we should ask Dan, hey, Dan, when would work for you
When you out of quarantine?
for a field trip?
We're pretty much open to your schedule. I'm not, we're home mostly during the days, so whatever would work for you guys, we would be compliant with that.
How long till you're well?
We've got another couple of days before we supposedly are able to go back into public.
Put it scheduled until next week
Next
anyway.
Yeah.
I would like for you to entertain Spencer and Jerry, a unique situation. Okay? Instead of putting up a stop sign, one of the things that, a stop sign is one option. Another is to have a demarcation that marks so that the cars have to come a long ways around, right? To make a turn. Normally you just have a white line where there's a stop sign, right? Is it possible to put a bigger white just marking the lane that would, you know, extend all the way to the edge of the curve?
So you're saying to run
On that side, more down, right there.
basically, if then it would be just
No.
putting like a yellow skip line through here,
It could run,
or are you talking like
Right
how
here.
Eric is?
yeah, right there where Eric is talking about, not on that far up there, but more, you know, right there with that drain is,
Oh, right here.
or something like that, and come out to make like a triangle where white,
What are you trying to protect the pedestrians walking? Is that the big thing?
pedestrians walking, also make sure that the cars making this turn don't bomb that area,
We went through this on Baker too.
Yeah, maybe a pork chop.
Down here where we put
Candle stripes
striping,
and striping.
candle strips, yeah.
and I'm just trying to, where you, either, all those candles that come out a little bit, that they would have to make the turn, they would have to make the turn,
Can we add sidewalk? Yeah,
and what,
sidewalks would be good, but like, more expensive, obviously.
sidewalk?
A sidewalk around that corner would protect the pedestrians, but that's much more expensive.
Well, yeah, that's a costly thing, because you
Yes.
gotta rebuild that whole thing, so I mean, that's a big CIP
But more
budget.
lollipops might work.
I'm just talking, I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
something that is, and that, to get on the CIP budget, you could be out 3-4 years. So I'm just talking to something that could be done quicker,
Yeah.
Why don't we meet on a Friday for a field trip? What do you think? A week from today or?
On a Friday or a week from today?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, whatever works for everyone, yeah,
But next week would work best for Dan probably, so he can get well.
yeah.
So when would be a good day to do this?
Yeah, Jerry, that's her.
I'm,
Yeah, let's
Fridays
go.
are bad for Spencer.
yeah,
Okay.
Mondays are good for me.
Yeah, what's a good day?
you guys set the time and I will
Except
make it
for-
work.
I'm good except for Thursday.
I'll take Thursday.
I said I would accept for Thursday.
Except for
Or
Thursday.
maybe he doesn't want me there.
No, we want you there. So any
Okay.
day but Thursday.
I'm in Salem on Thursdays.
I'm not available next
Okay.
week with work.
Jackie?
Mondays are best for me, but I'll make it work. I can flex my hours.
Okay.
I'm wide open Monday,
Monday,
if you need me there. Yeah,
What time of day are we looking at?
6 a.m.
Jerry.
how about,
Everyone's available then.
yeah, how about
Like,
10-ish?
I was gonna say,
Ten.
but 10 is good, 10.
Are you gonna, 10 o'clock Monday?
Is that possible?
For me, it is.
Is that?
On the 13th, confirming.
Yes, Monday the 13th. Dan, will you be better by then?
Yeah, I think I can make that work.
Okay. 10 o'clock Monday, we'll meet over there, and then Spencer, you guys can think about, the candles or some type of painting that makes it
Over there.
obvious.
Probably meet there.
We'll just meet over
Meet
there.
it. Okay. Thank you.
Question,
We'll see you later.
question, Spencer.
And the other thing, Spencer, you're working on, the person who was still on vacation, was to put the orange flag.
Those went up.
Okay, maybe Dan, you can take a look at those. We put some flags on the no truck zone flag, signs at the top of Baker, going both ways. Because there were two issues. One is on Baker, those trucks coming down where they're not supposed to. And we don't like to put flags on every sign because it then becomes too used to. But this seems to be a serious enough problem when you get a truck that far down there. And so we put some flags on so that they will both draw their attention to the fact that there's a no truck signs. And there's a lot of no truck signs over there. We're just trying our best. Okay. We'll see you folks and we'll see you on Monday, the 13th at 10 o'clock.
Get well.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right. Moving on. Okay, old business. CIP discussion. Did anybody have a chance to look at the CIP budget? You did. And I met with
Bob Kendra.
Jerry and I had a discussion about the CIP budget, and there are lots of, I don't know if anybody had a chance to look at it. I support the things on the CIP presently budget. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at it.
I can, do you have it? I can scan it to you real quick. You can bring it up if you want to show it to everyone, or I can make copies.
This one?
Yes. I have it.
Yeah, just.
If it's easy enough to bring it up on the screen to share, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
I'm gonna take. This is the one we were going over. I'll scan it to you.
It was just a second day, we'll have it up on the screen.
Okay. I'm just gonna continue to go down the list and just a bit. Redflex, we'll revisit that another time.
Can I add something there?
Yes.
What do you think if you and I reach out to some of our neighboring communities, Woodburn, Wilsonville, Sherwood, Oregon City, Tualatin, and Tigard, and just, see, I think some are use some form of this, some don't. You just.
That'd be great.
If it's occupying, we to try to tackle that and report on that.
Yes, that would be great,
Okay.
because all my reach out to them indicate that it's very successful in those neighborhoods.
Okay, well, I'll report back on it.
Okay, location of truck weight signs. Gary and I and Dan haven't been able to get together regarding that, but hopefully that will be continued soon. The other old business that didn't make the list, we're with the CIP budget. This is the present CIP budget that identifies some of the roadways that are being planned and need to be worked on. There are some real major projects that are going on, as you guys know. Some are very, and the cost has gone up on some of those projects, which is natural given all the circumstances of our nation. The biggest is the South Ivy, which is a major work project that's going to be and they're doing a terrific job. But it's a complicated project because it involves sewer, electrical, all underground, plus a real nice sidewalks going out, plus lighting and.
Traffic signal, pedestrian push button crossings, 2 of them. Yeah.
So it's real renovating that whole pathway all the way out that way. So they're doing a terrific job. That's good. The other one that they're working on really significantly, and it's on that budget, is Locust Street. As you know, North Locust has been a real horrible street forever. The roadway was horrible. Paths on it was non-existent, and it surrounds the Clackamas Fairgrounds that draws a lot of people. And they are working their butts off to renovate that, and they've done quite a bit of work. I suspect by this summer they'll be finished.
Yes, they should be finished.
Well, it was open when I went to the other day, but the road is horrible.
Yes, they finished up all of the sewer line on Locust itself that they were replacing. They're finishing up on 9th, and then they'll start in on regrading and redoing asphalt.
So it will have
Should be done by Saturday.
sidewalk on at least one side of.
Yeah, sidewalk on one side, parking on both. That's what the community wanted.
So that's a big plus. And there are other things on the list that are important too. One of the pet projects that I think is really significant. There are 2. The Maple Street going down toward the country club, which has some real pedestrian problems, but I believe that's on this budget already. It may be labeled differently. It says South Maple.
North Bay.
And
That's a typo. I didn't, when I put that on there, it should be North Maple, south of Territorial.
okay,
It's not south.
It's like, oh, okay.
Like,
I need to fix that. I was glad Bob pointed that out. It made sense to me, but not to anyone that.
Anyone else?
You know what I thought?
Exactly, yeah.
I kept looking at South Maple, really South Maple on that side, and it says, why are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. The other is tent. As you know, the tent between Pine, especially between Pine Street and Locust, is both a horrible road. It's pitted, it's just a bad shape. Also, it has no sidewalks.
Put one in front of that.
And it's just, and it's a dangerous road, and it's used a lot. I haven't had a traffic study on that, you know, but I believe the traffic is significant on that road.
It is.
only two.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
1,750,000, yeah, that's what it would be now.
So I would strongly encourage the city to keep that on the budget and move forward to develop that pedestrian road.
Now, Jerry, the way you have this, is this by any priority in your brain, or is it just, this is the list? Because
Well,
it's pretty far down the list.
Yeah, and what I want, thanks for bringing that up, Tracy, because I've just been left to do this for years by myself with no input or anything, and I've just been moving around during projects, but keeping them on there so that you guys are aware. What I would like to do is I've been working with our Parks Advisory Committee, and they've actually helped me build the CIP for parks. I would love this group to do the same. Like, I would even like to maybe have a separate work session, so we don't take up all of Bob's meeting
I like that idea.
with a group to go over this, and you guys look at this and have it so that I can put it in this year's budget for adoption. So it goes through council. So we don't have to do like parks and take it to council in a separate meeting. But in the meantime, if anyone wants a copy of this, take a look at it. But no, this needs to be changed, Tracy. And honestly, that's what I was telling Bob. I wanted him to get in touch with you because I would like this brought up in our council goals.
Yeah, you can
Like-
send me an email.
Like 10,000.
Yeah.
And
From
Pine Trail
Locust to
line.
Pine, because I give it split into two projects.
I don't
But
want to
is
do
it- Is Locust to Pine the ask, or is Maple to Pine the ask?
Locust.
Locust all the way to Pine.
Yeah, that's what I would like as a
And
council.
is that why
goal.
it's 1.7, or is it actually adding a million to the 750 and a million to
It's-
the 700?
It would be, to do from Locust to Pine would be about one, probably just under two.
From Locust to Pine.
Yeah, but it would be different funding sources out of it. It'd be sewers and all this. And, you know, I put in for another, sent in the request for probably another $70 million through that lottery funds. So if we got that, we would have money freed up to do this. But Tracy, I would like, me personally, I'd like to finish 10th from Locust all the way down to Pine. And then I would like to go around the corner, do the train depot and everything following year. You know, we're clean up that intersection or reverse, but if it was a council goal to do that, I think it would help us keep motivated and steam moving ahead, because we got Locust done, and I just want to go around the corner.
Oh, it helped connectivity to Maple Street Park.
Big time.
Yes.
Yep, big time.
Can I ask
It would,
Yeah.
you know, all the people that go to Clackamas.
And Clint, I want your input on this too. You've
Oh,
been
yeah.
doing this a long time with
Yeah.
us also.
Like to be involved. Like I said,
This is my list.
yeah.
I'd like your guys's.
Yeah, I just
list.
have one question too. Because of all the excessive truck traffic and things, territorial has deteriorated quite a little bit.
Yeah.
Is there any plans to do some repair there?
It's on his list to do some base repair, and we're gonna have to get it overlaid at some point.
Okay.
Yep, it is on the priority. You can see that base failure we're having in areas.
And then speaking of pet projects, any updates on the dog park?
The dog park is back in the Parks Advisory Committee's hands for a recommendation.
Okay.
Their Parks Advisory, you could talk to them. They're up to speed on that, and they got a plan.
Can I just make a motion that we set a separate meeting to talk about the CIP?
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
I'll work with you, Jerry, about trying to schedule something.
Yeah, I would really, that would be fun for me to sort
And
of.
then I got you with July's just
Here, is that
And a
okay?
suggestion.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Would everybody be opposed to doing an evening meeting so that she doesn't have to take another time off of work?
I'm okay with that,
I'm
absolutely.
okay, yeah.
Gosh, crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
Just a thought.
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
Because you're thinking.
And I don't know how it works for you, Tracy, but even if they wanted to do it before a council meeting or something, does that mess you up?
As long as we have a work session ahead of the meeting.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. I mean, the work session.
Or just don't do it on Wednesday. I mean, or do it on the second or fourth Wednesday
But
instead of the first.
We'll
or
figure
third.
something out.
Okay.
And we'll work with you to make that.
But if it
work.
was a second Wednesday or a fourth Wednesday, council doesn't usually get involved.
So did we get a second for this?
All
So
right.
I'll second that. You have made a motion that we have a special work session and I seconded it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty.
Um,
We will keep you informed as far as when that committee, meeting should be.
But I can. I can
Thank you.
arrange it
Uh,
differently.
All right, moving on.
The early morning.
Any other questions regarding that?
5 a.m.
Yeah, one last thing about Ken for you guys to think about. The reason why I push it so hard is because I also think it would help the flow to Maple Street Park. Maple Street Park has become a big family park. And the pedestrians walking from all of that neighborhoods would make it easier and safer to get there. Also, it does create a connectivity down to the downtown. You know, now with Locust being done, you have a natural flow for people to be encouraged to walk and get out and do some exercise, and it would create that kind of and livability issues that we keep talking about. But this is the kind of projects that actually hit on the mark of livability.
Yep.
Okay. One of the old businesses from last time, I just thought I'd check in about the trees over the roadways. Do we know if that's something
Say that again, Bob.
last
Okay,
meeting,
okay, yeah.
yeah, last meeting, I sent pictures out about several trees as examples about the trees are, their limbs stick out at almost not 50 degrees, which makes it, you know, a lot more dangerous than a tree that's the limb is going straight up.
Stop signs.
And they stick over the roadways. They're older.
What was said? This is easy. This just needs to go to Ron Rosella and we're creative.
Look, no, these are
Privately owned.
privately owned big trees that
They
they are, it's just ones that are hanging out over the road
Yeah.
for it, but it's not ones that are below the site or the vision clearance or anything like that.
Oh.
It'd be like,
That's a carry.
yeah,
Yeah, so the question is, and we talked about that there may be no answer presently because maybe the city code doesn't really address it. But I do think, you know, Tracy, you can give us, maybe you, not today, but some direction about how to proceed with this, because I look at those and I say, ice storms, windstorms, those things could fall.
Like we're worried about falling and hitting
Yes.
people or cars or.
Trees
If you're
did,
walking on the
uh,
sidewalk, you have to duck your head or you're upside.
You know, I mean, you know, and it's like, I sent out the picture, I gladly sent them out again.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I get your opinion, this is just not me, your opinion, maybe I'm just being, you know, too critical.
Well, I kind of take what you're, unless I'm wrong, I kind of take your point, meaning being preventative. I mean, if something were to happen, it wouldn't be the city's liability, we've got private properties and their liability.
Unless
But
it's
let's prevent someone getting hurt in the first place,
Unless it's a
right?
city tree.
Right.
Yeah, and that's just saying, I mean, why do?
Why do we wait till someone gets hurt?
This thing is so big, I'm just not, I'm not trying to say all trees, you know, I was just gave you some examples of what,
Is this
basically
one of
on
your
Holly.
examples?
Oh, but that, you know,
I know that.
that's sort of one, but if you drive back up, go back up,
The
turn
one
around,
that's dangerous is
Like
that
down.
one up at.
like that
Leaves.
one. You can't see it right now because the leaves are all there, but there's there's several branches that stick out really far. And they're sitting at a, you know, I just look at those and I say, those are really problem branches.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to walk in this town, just to make sure I looked out.
I mean, you know, if that was to fall, hopefully it missed somebody, but also it would trigger a whole bunch of traffic problems because Public Works would have to go out there to cut all that tree up, and send the bill,
Yeah.
and, the roadway.
Gonna
would-
block the road and it's probably gonna take down that power line. So there's gonna be a lot of people without power potentially in a cold storm.
We're not identifying everyone, I say we take down 10 of these trees or these limbs, and the 11th one that didn't look bad is the one that falls in. Right. But, you gotta do what you can do, so I'm just saying, you give some thought about what do we do with this
We'll
situation?
look into first what our city code might say, unless Brianna happens to have it in front of her, but we need to see if there's even any code written for it.
Yeah, and my understanding from,
They're not in violation of anything. in this code.
I don't think they're in violation of per se of anything. But I couldn't find anything in the code.
Yeah.
In our discussion last month, we thought we might have jurisdiction over 8 or 10 feet above the street in some part of the code. And my thought is that if we maybe remove the height restriction, then you guys can at least send out letters to request that people address it proactively. And then it's not writing a whole new piece of not legislation. I'm sorry, I'm blinking on words today. I'm sick too. Just instead of having to write something new, just amend something that's already in existence would give you a little more flexibility.
Some of these trees are kind of getting old. And so I just think that the joint itself could be getting old, that someday they'll crack.
Sure.
Well, Tracy, you think about that.
I'll doodle that, and see what I can come up with after talking to some
Okay.
folks.
All right, moving on. Is there any other old business anybody wants to bring up?
One question, maybe this is more of a public works question, but there was a little bit of talk on 13th down there by Timber Park about maybe reaching out to the county and see if they were open to reducing that speed zone so it more matches up with
30.
like Timber Park.
Park from
Down by
Kingwood
Rhino,
down.
Going down towards. the-
Yeah, there was some talk that we should reach out to the county and see if they would agree on our taking that speed limit down to.
Actually, a citizen, Brian Hudson,
Yeah.
came to us requesting
Mhm.
that the whole roadway from 13th to the river, which will eventually become city.
That was on South Ivy.
services.
That's Ivy.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what you're talking
To the
That
about.
was the other one.
I'm close to there, I was
Oh.
talking about.
Oh, the other way, I'm
Yeah, we
sorry.
definitely wanted to do that, but we were waiting
So just
for
go out or to.
Officer Miller he was gonna talk with the chief
I
and
know, I know, sorry.
make sure that had his blessing. But then this one was down there by Timber Park. Kind of, let's say you come out of the gun club, you're heading back on 13th, you're at a higher rate of speed zone there until you get up to about
Redwood is.
Redwood. Thank you.
I think it's 35 on the farm side of the road and 25 on the city side of the road.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We should take it down.
Take it up.
What do you think?
Do you remember what the holdup was with that one?
It's the county, and you see my emails going on right now.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know the answer to it because I can't get them they're all,
They show up at a meeting and talk with somebody.
they won't. It's all remote. They're all at home. It's email, and I'm struggling big time with it because they don't care. I mean, they just say, we don't care. And so that's
Yeah.
it's a county road. If you want to take it over, talk to your city council, and take the thing over, and do whatever they want.
We don't have that one over yet.
Yeah, so that's what the best thing to do would be if we wanted to do something like that, it would probably be good from the committee to make a recommendation to council and let Tracy take it to the council to take that road over. And then we would have jurisdiction. It'd be easy for our police. It would be, you know what I mean? We could sign it the way we
Where does
want.
our jurisdiction on 13th end?
Redwood.
It's,
The Redwood?
yeah. And so I don't know, Clint, that would be,
Maybe a
but they're,
topic for our separate work session, CIP.
Because that would, with that request would come.
I mean,
expenditure.
the email I had today is they they won't put in our storm system, they won't put in our mix, or they won't follow our design standards. And they're doing it to be ornery so that we take the road over. No, it's really, it's irritating. So what we have to do,
We need to talk to our county commissioners.
yeah, and that's the thing, and that's the thing, Clint, we need to get a decision from this group to our council on, do we want to take these roads over or not? And if we don't, we live with it, or if we do, we take them over and we fix them.
Okay, I think that's a.
Does that make sense?
Topics for our separate
That's a
work session,
CIP,
CIP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good
so this-
CIP conversation.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay, so this one. And I know the one,
Ivy, we have an agreement. Ivy, we have an IGA that's approved by council, and as soon as it's done, we have road jurisdiction on that one, Clint, but they own it, but we will take it over when the Ivy Street project's done. So
can we move that to the 30 before the project is done?
ODOT and Clackamas County recommended we wait until all the development was in. And then go do a speed request with ODOT. So I'm kind of there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's kind of.
I'm just trying to address
Yeah.
Brian Hutchison's request that we do it now before the development come in. And so.
I can do a speed request again. I can do another one.
But the criteria would change with more development. I
That's
think
what they-
that's- Yeah, that's why they want to wait.
The last one that came back was just, yeah, that's,
I don't want to jeopardize if we do it
Too soon, they say no, then we have to wait. It could be longer.
I'm glad to do it though. I mean, if that's what, Clint, I don't want to dodge this bullet,
No, you're
county, but it's just, I'm pulling, I don't have much left.
I understand.
And it looks nice.
Oh, thank you. They're just, the county has really turned into a big business. And it's, they're not our neighbors anymore. You know what I mean? We used to have a good relationship, all the crew and everything, and now it's just, they play hardball with us. I mean, they play some serious hardball. We're getting along good on Ivy, but it's a certain team. They're still a pretty good hardworking team, but I get emails from Besner, weekly, like, when are you taking these roads over? And I had a conversation with Tracy and the mayor the other night, and he goes, what are they offering you, Jerry? And I said, $80 a ton. He goes, tell them to get lost. It's not even worth it, And so we're having that, and we get blamed, we get the heat, we can't adjust the speed, and I'm gonna continue to battle with them, but until we decide as a group if we wanna take ownership of these things and do it, or do we want that where we want, because that money will go away from other
Yes.
projects.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
When we talk about this, we have to know the cost benefit analysis, which is what's the downside in bringing it in? Because I mean, each time we bring one in, it drains some other projects.
Here is my problem. I tell these guys in the email I just sent out, build it to our design standards so we can take it over. And they refuse. They refuse.
Yeah, high standard.
And what I was telling them today was, if you guys want to go for a drive to see how our crew builds roads and how the county builds roads, go drive our streets, like 13th that we paved, and then go out where Columbia Distributing and look at their specs. It's already falling apart. And it's like, use some common sense, guys. If you want us to take over these roads, let's just get a quick IGA that we're going to build them to city standards so that if you ever take it over, otherwise, it just stays what it is. It doesn't, our standards aren't that much different. They're little tiny things, but they're such big business, they won't do it. So the storm system, all that stuff is going to be, it will be a lot of maintenance. It doesn't work. The road, they're using ODOT spec for roads, so they fall apart. It's just crazy. So it's just a tough situation, and I don't know what you do about it. And I told Mike Desner, the director of this, I told all their inspectors, but you can ask him. They send 5 guys out and they attack me. And it's 5 guys that don't know what they're doing. If they had a gal out there, get something done.
Well, we can talk about this at the meeting.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it is.
But it's a big issue.
It is a big issue, and it's a money issue too, from the city point of view. It takes money away from other projects. So I mean,
they offered, so why we took over, just so you guys remember, why the council agreed to take over Maple, north and south of Territorial, and Redwood and all that, we negotiated, we got $110 a ton for asphalt, and all the ADA ramp improvements. See, they were working with us,
Right.
8 rooms a ton, Brian said.
and with no ramps, with no ramps.
Oh, with
you
no
know,
ramps
With no
too?
ramps, yeah, and
Okay,
it's just
make it
like,
worse.
it would take away a project, and it's, so, another time, another subject, I just want you guys to be up to speed on that.
Yeah, no,
So
I
I'm gonna
mean,
keep in mind.
that's what I'm saying, you know, every decision has its positives and negatives, and we need to have a really good discussion, so we know what we're doing. Not just being sympathetic and take a big piece that we can't afford.
The other cities are like, how did you negotiate that? I said, you need a mayor on C4. It helps.
Yeah, I
So
appreciate that.
that's, yeah.
Okay, so we'll come back, Clint,
Okay.
we're not forgetting your.
Sorry, Clint.
All right,
All right.
new business. I'm sorry, there's a lot of things to talk about. I just wanted the economic opportunity analysis and housing assessment. They had a good public meeting, and there's more coming up. It's relevant for us because it really talks about the future development here in Canby. And that involves, you know, homes and roads and things like that. And I think it's important, and it's necessary that we expand to meet our housing needs and our industrial needs. So I fully support that. I even support us looking at the trajectory of the type of houses to include more multifamily housing to accommodate the prices around here. What I'm hoping for you guys to think about and consider joining is when those meetings are going on, they have two different sets of goals. One was a desired and one was a building goal. The desired goals talk about making sure that development is done in a livability, that livability standards are highly encouraged, pedestrian safety is encouraged, things like that. And then it's not talked about in the development goals. I just want to, I said it at the last meeting, and I will continue to go and encourage them to have those goals wrapped into the development goals so that when we develop some of these new housing areas, we make sure we do it with the perspective to have wider roads, sidewalks, and those kinds of things built into it so that we don't create future problems for ourselves,
That's Jenny can define it.
right? That we build it with, makes it workable for everybody. And so I would encourage, if you can attend these meetings, it's really the future of this city being discussed. And I think traffic safety has a part in it to make sure that we don't create a future problem when we have one, an opportunity. Any thoughts or questions? I will send out, Ryan Potter provided me the slideshow, and I will send it out to you folks after this meeting. So, and the other is my Excel spreadsheet on traffic data, on traffic accidents. This, I sent you guys a copy of it. This is a very simple, this is not a sophisticated Excel spreadsheet.
I'll do that.
She has a much more, she was working on a much more elaborate one. What I did was I went through the months, put all the streets in, and if there's a duplicate, you can see the months that the accidents and stuff have circled. And so, you know, just what it highlights is, as you can look at it yourself, there are several obvious problem areas, you know, that jump at you out, you know, let's just start at the top there. You can see right here, First and North Ivia. Maybe I need to talk with Officer Miller. What does that mean? You know, it seems to imply that intersection right at, after you come over the bridge, you know,
Over the tracks.
right there at that, you know, that it all stops, that funny stop sign.
Yeah.
That seems to be where I'm thinking they mean.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah,
when it's kind of a general area, nothing specific. Usually a call taker will say, you know, what's the closest building to that
Yeah,
intersection or something like that. So if it's something that broad, then that's what that is. It's near it, but not at it.
right. And so I think when Officer Miller comes next time, we can kind of help get from him what he thinks is, this is an obviously identified area that's a problem. I'm not too sure what the problem is, but you can see that Dowling, Northeast Fort and North Pine has another big problem.
It's a huge problem. I know what the problem is. We just haven't figured out how to fix it yet.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, and if you scroll down, Spencer, if you scroll down, if you don't mind. Okay, so now if you go on the south side, you see First and Ivy. In this case, I believe First Street is really Highway 99.
Yeah.
And so, as you can see, that's a real problem. They've got 5 accidents in that area at that intersection. And then if you look at First Street, all the other First Streets that hit the other, there are accidents all along First Street. You know?
Yeah,
You know, which,
all of that.
as I make, you know, on 99, I mean, you know, and maybe the new development that they're doing, revamping with the lights and things will be a solve. But we need to know as a traffic people that 99 is a problem. And especially at Ivy. And when ODOT tells me that we can't put in stop signs, no left turns at the
The car wash.
car wash and at the market because there's not an accident on Ivy and 99, I'm looking at
So
you guys, what the
a large
hell?
amount.
I'm sorry. What statistics are you looking at? I'm just looking at 3 months worth of.
What did they say to you, Bob, about the no left turns?
They said to qualify for that kind of mitigation, you need to show there's a pattern of accidents.
Which people could die.
To me, that's like the
Common sense
most
tells you
I
that.
remember-
numbskull kind of thinking in the world. I gotta have people lose their cars and.
5 to 3 months seems like a pattern that we've only been doing this.
Yeah.
for 3
When I
months.
worked for
They know
ODOT,
we're-
we'd be putting in guardrail and it would be like, because it was like $6 million in loss life. Or something. They had
I
a
know,
number,
I know.
they had a number
I mean, yeah,
formula, and then we would go put for where
This
people
is-
went off, so many people went off.
This is
the
why
cliff.
I'm so passionate about traffic safety. When I was a kid, someone got killed on Ocean Boulevard in my town from lumber flying over. But nobody would do anything, the ODOT, whatever.
Yeah.
My dad goes, yeah, just somebody informed or not enough people died.
Yeah.
And finally, eventually got fixed because enough people injured or died. So I have to do that.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to get a picture here that maybe we can convince ODOT to say, what the heck?
There's a lot of issues.
There's a lot of issues there at that intersection, and this is just a small little,
And you said you sent this out to the email?
yes,
Okay, all right. I need to take that to Scott, because he's supposed to be talking. about
no,
Well,
that's cool. I
well,
mean,
and
that's
I
not
wanted to
for me.
talk about that, but I'll come back to that.
it. Yeah.
And if you scroll up some more, you can see how, at the bottom, I tried to summarize that there were, on First Avenue, there were 13 accidents.
1401, where's?
So I mean, there's a lot of ones like, oh, the other one that's highlighted here is having quite a few accidents is
Is that
Fred Myers.
That's what I was wondering.
Fred Myers has a lot of accident, you know, but I believe that's probably, and
Oh, that's in the parking lot?
in the parking
Okay.
lot kind of thing that, you know, happens. I don't know if that's,
Yeah. 14.
we can't catch, there's no way.
It's interesting, though, the signal we put in, the city put in, there, every morning you come in, there'd be like glass bumpers broken there before that, you know, from that.
Yeah.
Fred Myers, now you don't see any of that, I think
Yeah,
I think that was a good
So much
addition.
better.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd Jackie will make it
Thanks
much
for
more
doing this, you guys.
sophisticated, but I'm gonna kind of update this until she
Yeah,
has.
and I'm
time
on
to
the
really-
agenda next month and that will be.
God, Southeast first, Southeast first.
Yeah.
Southeast
And I'll
first.
be putting the data that if.
You're doing pretty good in town,
Yeah.
Jackie, you're making a difference.
Is this helpful, folks?
Yes.
I
Like
think
it
so.
sure paints a picture that we don't have otherwise.
Yes.
I'm curious about,
It's nice to have the data in front of us.
and
Where the
Four-way stop
where we
is.
put that
what
together.
happened there? Yeah, if it was just someone ran the stop.
Well, there are, if you scroll up, there are one. or two-
I mean, I saw it on here, that's why I asked.
There was an accident there.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was a,
I think that four-way stop really works good there.
yep,
There.
I do
There was
too.
2 accidents. North Ivy and 10th.
that's, wonder what's going on there. I'd like to.
Well,
Why
you
does
know,
somebody belong to stop sign?
they blow a stop sign, you know, which talks
Send
about,
out
if you've
private
had 2
business.
accidents at that stop sign, you know, if you don't have that 4-way stop, you'd have a lot more accidents.
Mhm.
So that's a real good place.
And December could have been
Okay.
that corner house. They're watching the
So-
Christmas lights, not paying attention.
Yes, it can be that too.
Just trying
So-
to.
So thank you. Any other questions regarding this little piece of work? Took me a little thing to figure it out. Not very good at Excel spreadsheet. So I would get, police reports. They're not here today. Planning, Brianna, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you. As you mentioned, we did have the kickoff open house for the big updates we have happening. We have a timeline from our consultants. So right now we're kind of in public engagement mode really until June. There is a link to that open house. It was recorded and I believe we sent it to Jenny because she requested it, but I'm happy also to send it to anyone else. If you're interested in seeing what happened at that first open house. But of course, we'll keep you posted and I'm not sure if it's going to be the entire group or just Bob as a representative, but you'll definitely be included in the stakeholder meetings that we're holding. Other than that, I have a list of projects here. The Walnut Street Extension access permit is getting closer. The engineered road design was received by DKS and it'll probably be a few weeks before they finish their review, but that's in the works, the Walnut Street Extension. Don and Ryan are compiling existing conditions report for DKS and 3J, the consultants for our comp plan and TSP update. So again, existing conditions and public engagement is really where we're at right now in that process. Other than that, I don't have any specific updates, but I'm happy to answer questions. I will have to hop off. I have another meeting coming up, but I still have a few minutes if anyone has questions or comments.
Yeah, I just have a couple for you. This is Cliff.
If you want to.
I was just gonna ask if you could give us any updates on the backstop expansion, the Canby Beer Library, and anything going on in the old City Hall building or old police department.
Nothing for the first and third since last month, but the beer library, the traffic scope should be ready by next Wednesday. And once they have that, they should be able to submit a complete application. So once we have that, they'll determine their next steps in moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can stay for a few more minutes, but I'm gonna hop off probably 9:10.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Public Works?
The only thing I have is I wanted, what Tracy talked about was the no left turns on 99 that was sent to our city administrator. That got kind of delegated back to me. And so I've been working on that. I'm hitting the same roadblocks you are. I didn't know if the letter, what I kind of understood is the letter went to the city administrator because maybe he'd have a little more hold of me. And he could reach out. Was that?
It was because that's kind of the pathway that the process should take. Is
Yes.
the committee to the administrator, and then the
So-
administrator can delegate to whatever department head. This committee really shouldn't be directing the department head, is why.
So it's back with me, and if our city councilor wants to send it back to Scott, I think he would be glad to meet the original request. I think he was confused. I'm not sure.
Okay, and well, also, you've contacted ODOT,
Like, I've talked to several.
and they're leaving, they're not wanting to.
Well, some of them are like, no, some of them are like, we need to see, we'd have to look into it. Some of them are, and that's where I keep going, the people I talk to, I mean, from the maintenance guys.
Yeah.
On up. I mean, I've also,
They said there's two, I'm sorry to interrupt, they said that there were two issues. ODOT's email, and I have it someplace, I guess.
and I have it too.
There's two issues. One is, they said that if they were gonna do anything, they would have to build a concrete medium.
Yep.
And to stop the persons from making a left turn. And I'm there, okay, but what, then if you, anyway, that was the first thing. That was the first barrier, that they don't have money to build a concrete medium that would stop the left turn.
They're about to do a project on that.
Okay, and that's why, Tracy, I've been working with Robert Baskin on this from the beginning of the project and trying to get this addressed, and they say, yeah, let us look into it. And
Well, what about the fact that McDonald's had one, that they took it down to refurbish and rebuild the McDonald's, and then they didn't put the sign back up? It
I'm
already
not
existed.
so sure that wasn't our sign, like we put it up or something.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I could see
Us.
us going.
Well,
The
past
old
employees.
fast employees, is that okay to say?
Well, does it have like a board?
The second concern was the number of accidents. It didn't have, they claimed they didn't have between 5 and 7 accidents at that intersection that would warrant making a change.
And this is, you got off of Ask ODOT, right?
Pardon me?
You emailed Ask ODOT.
Yeah,
They
well,
responded.
I emailed them and they sent me that information. And I'm saying, okay, I can show you that intersection's a problem.
Yeah.
The only way that anything's gonna get moving on this, I think, is if our boss sits down with one of the upper level,
Okay.
you know what I mean, schedules a meeting with the district manager or region manager, or even goes up higher. I mean, the region manager I know, I've talked to them, and he's related to me. And he's like, Jerry, goes through our whole transportation thing, it goes into what you're talking about, traffic islands, all the other stuff, but I just don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Yeah.
So I can continue to keep pressing it, but I don't see it going anywhere. I think it's a sit down with upper level. Maybe the mayor and the city administrator.
This is it's just unbelievable. Because we're not even asking for those concrete islands. We're just saying, put in those.
I mean,
Right,
I even brought it up with our attorney.
Yeah, just a right turn.
I even brought it up with our attorney. He's like, why are you putting yourself at so much risk on this, Jerry? And
Putting
I
yourself at risk in one way.
like dictating what goes on the state highway. It's not even our jurisdiction. Why are you involved? So I said, well, it's our city administrator, and it's been delegated back to me. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Can we put the signs up? Like if ODOT says, can we do an IGA, enter into an IGA with them saying that we'll maintain the signs to their standard or whatever. There's so many different avenues.
Well,
It was important to you guys. That's why it went.
So if the car wash, for example,
Yes, I've been in an
it's
accident
private
there. By
property,
the way.
the Scots can't just put up a sign on their property that says right turn only out of their driveway?
They would have to they could put it up, but could create risk
Oh,
for
okay.
them. It could create liability. It's.
Yeah.
Okay.
it may be an issue that falls because ODOT will not do anything about it. I just think, I always said that the first time somebody wants to sue ODOT, I would provide them a whole bunch of evidence that they failed to.
Did they fail to act?
They failed to act.
Well, the thing that's so strange about that to me is that it is within like what, 150 feet of an intersection on a state highway. Like it's one thing to have an argument about a left turn or not out of McDonald's, which is not directly next to an intersection, but everything that's happening at First and at 99 and Ivy there, those businesses are all within literal feet of a major intersection. And I don't really understand why that in and of itself isn't more of a conversation piece for anything that they're saying is or isn't okay, because what's okay in the middle of an open stretch of 99 and what's okay next to an intersection seems like it should be different.
Well, yeah, all that being said, the main reason I wanted to bring this up, I don't know where to go with this.
Yes,
We could add it to our little separate CIP list, Bob.
we'll add it to our CIP to discuss.
Okay.
Okay. The fire, city council liaison, Tracy, liaison,
What do you want to know?
okay.
What do you want to know?
We've given you a lot of.
I don't really have any updates really, other than to answer your question about the rear library. I don't know if you know that the plan has changed to food.
Yeah, I saw it, it looks pretty nice.
I don't know of anything else. You have a question?
Any discussion of Quinn's successors to Quinn's?
I've actually talked to Mallory and he's interviewed lots of people. There's a lot of interest in somebody taking it over, but we don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, when it was the place to be, it was, you know, a great place, and then he's taken it to
No,
another
he's
level.
looking to sell the business and recipes and all, and having someone just carry the baton, so.
Is he looking for a job?
I don't think so. He's
You're a
looking to
good
retire and
street
do some gardening as well.
Make a good chamber director, huh?
I know, you take his whole job back. Actually, they gave it to Audrey in an interim, so that's good. I don't wonder why they haven't done that before, to be honest.
All right.
Anyway, I don't really have anything else unless someone has a question.
Thank you. Board members report. Deanne?
Yeah, Pine Street. There are a lot of complaints on Facebook about 99E and Pine, the light. I actually went through it one evening with my mom and my husband because one of the roads was, I had to go around, so I was like, oh, I gotta go this way. And it was awkward to turn because the turn light doesn't stay very long. And you have to wait for the oncoming traffic to be able to get by. And this was like probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I'm not sure why the light isn't, the light at Pine and 99E
I thought they
isn't
fixed
very
it.
long.
What happened to do?
They broke the sensor when they did their work there, with whatever work they were doing, and it's just on a timer, and they're having problems with the push button. The push button was broke, so the timer was messed up.
Oh,
So now, until they put the actual loop system back in, it's gonna be messed up. But if there's complaints, I can keep calling
yes, there's more complaints.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, that's why I was like, wait, I heard this before, I thought it was fixed.
them. Okay, yeah, no, I'll call John Sapp, I know the guy that works on it himself.
Yeah.
So it's just, it doesn't let traffic go
You get
out.
like a car and a half through.
Okay,
It's terrible. Yeah,
okay, yeah, no, I'll call him on my way down to City Hall.
okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, you guys.
That was it. I just,
Yeah.
I knew it heard this before. I was like, wait, he has the
I'll
answer.
cover you on that if you want, yep.
Right, Gary's not, oh, sorry, you finished?
And
Thank
then
you.
thing is on, and I brought it up before, 13th and Bird Parkway. By the high school, the school zone is not being followed. People are not going 20. And just something that I think we need to get police out there more often.
So, okay, we need to notify police. That's a good point. Is that all, Dina?
Yeah.
Bob has talked enough. Clint?
Yeah, just real briefly, I just want to again say thank you to Tracy and Spencer and Public Works for putting in that four-way stop here at Territorial and North Redwood with the sidewalks. It's just nice to see people, you know, using the sidewalks and crossing over. So I really think that was a big plus. The only thing I would encourage, and I'll probably bring it up at our little projects meeting, is to have you look at Oliver Insurance or, New Era and Central Point, having on the top of that stop sign flashing red light coming both ways on Territorial. I think that would allow you to take away the training wheels. But other than that, I just appreciate everything you all do for the city, and
Like Jerry said, that four-way stop was mostly implemented because of this group, so.
have you heard a lot of consternation about it? I mean, people grousing.
You know, I think to date, I've only had 2 people complain to me about it. One of them was my roommate, so I told him, tough luck, deal with it. And the other one was a citizen, and after kind of explaining the whole situation to him, he got it, he appreciated what was happening. So that was the only 2 that
There's been some Facebook fodder about
But-
complaints, but then there's been a lot of applause for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks, that's all I have, Bob.
Jenny?
Hi, guys. I actually don't have anything new to add today.
Okay, thank you. Jackie?
Yeah, I think Deanna already covered the Pine light situation. I heard it's happening at Fred Meyer's as well.
really.
That was like last week or so, but. And then there's some church complaints over here off Territorial about somebody saying, oh, that development that's gonna come in, like,
Excuse me.
somebody was complaining about that. Isn't it that?
Oh, Manzanita,
Yeah, the church
that's gonna be an apartment building.
yeah, where the apartment's supposed to go in, with the old church. People were
Oh, yeah.
complaining, saying that the last traffic study was done in 1978, which is wrong.
Actually, it was the last traffic
Was
study,
it
it was in
really?
1978 when the building
So
was
the
used as a
TST
daycare.
When the
But-
TSC didn't even look at that.
It-
Or that
They're,
doesn't count.
Don Hardy told me they're gonna do that, and Brianna already jumped out. And Don told me they're gonna do another study for that project because the data is from 1978 when it was used as a daycare. But he
Ah.
says with 23 units, in all actuality, there was more traffic as a daycare.
Because they're going in and out.
Because they're going in and out twice a day for like 50 kids.
So they're gonna get the traffic study, the person's probably not gonna get what they thought they were going. to.
Right, they're gonna actually end up with less traffic
The
problems.
traffic study
than
was done in
existing.
1978, which is true. I thought that was a lie.
Where?
At Manzanita.
Manzanita and 14,
There's
where the
another
church
reason
is going to
for it.
become a 23-unit apartment complex. 16 one-bedrooms and 7
Oh, is that the
studios.
school?
No, not off of Territorial.
No, it's on 14th and Manzanita.
Sorry, I had the wrong address, but where the apartments are gonna go in.
One more.
So. There's some new traffic.
That church.
Yeah, that's the one I thought, that school, yeah, church. And it was a school at one.
There was a
There was a
school,
school
yeah.
there, and
And now
there's
they're
a
gonna,
developer that is going to convert it into a 23-unit apartment place.
The existing structure will be converted into a Dahlia type situation, but not tall. It's just gonna be
Okay.
7, like, will be lofts in the, like the taller part of the building where the sanctuary was. Those will have upstairs apartments, and then the rest will be downstairs.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a breezeway between the sanctuary. I've been talking to the neighbors a lot about this. They're not happy.
Yeah.
And between the breezeway, that would be like a sports court type, like courtyard area for the residents. There'll be 38 parking spots on site for 23 units, which is more than the 28 required, so it shouldn't spill out into street parking. I've had the unfortunate position to be and to have to tell the residents that on paper, the data does not have any reason to deny this project. So I just told them to go ahead and fill out their feedback form, because anything that they're concerned about with livability might be included in conditions of approval, but we don't know. So,
but it also addresses the fact that this is the kind of thing that is a big need in the community. I mean, you need affordable, more affordable housing.
well, that was part of it too, is there was big rumor that the developer was boasting, in fact, I have to call him today, he's been emailing me because he knows I'm talking to the neighbors, that he'd been boasting that it's gonna be the lowest of low income housing, and apparently that's not true, because Don said no, he believes them to be market value. So if that were the case, I mean, what is it, the Dahlia is like $1,200 right now for a studio, but not being prime downtown, I could see it maybe being 1,000 for a studio and
Yeah.
11 or 1,200 for the 1 bedrooms. That would be market. And so I think that might,
Oh, no, market's more than that. Market's more than that for sure.
we're talking not downtown, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of the neighbors are very concerned, so we'll see whether, they're supposed to make a decision on this project next week.
And
Well,
the other thing I had to say is I had a really scary experience a couple weeks ago. I had to call in a DUI, a couple of scary experience a couple weeks ago where I had to call in a DUI driver. My husband was driving and then this guy called 990 between Oregon City and Canby. And there's a really bad situation that happens when you call someone on 990, you get transferred to the state police. So then they gotta transfer you to a different department. Then they find out you're on your way to Canby, and then they transfer you to Canby, but then in the meantime, they're trying to keep track of the driver.
What time of the day or night?
It was at night, it was about 8 o'clock at night.
It's the same procedure any time of the day, though. I've had this call.
Yeah.
Drunk drivers.
And it was bad, I mean, they were going in oncoming traffic, and
Holy mackerel.
they were going off to the guardrail and back, and I mean, it's the worst one I've had in a while. And it was adrenaline for me, because I'm trying to tell them where we're at, and then the guy did a switch like have you ever seen anybody like turn, that they're gonna turn? So we thought, he's turning here, so we tell him 911 that, and then we hang up. And then he ended up being meeting us at the stoplight in Canby. So then I called back, which is good. So then we followed him into the neighborhood, right, you go past right.
Yeah, you were on camera.
Different area, certain areas of town. I'm not gonna speak up, but the person ended up going off the sidewalk.
Oh, geez.
They couldn't
Can't
catch
be
him.
cut up to him, I hope.
It was dark too, and he was going so fast in the residential area. He ditched the cops were trying to find him. And then the 911 guy was making me nervous because he was getting frustrated, because I'm like, I know my town, but I'm like, by the way, that's my next thing is our street signs. Or,
Updating.
they need, is it dark? I should know where these streets are. Some of them, and I know some of them are bigger and
Not
some are
super
smaller,
reflective either,
and
yeah.
you can't see them at night. It's not just my eyes.
so that's a good. I hear you saying two concerns that we really should put on the agenda for old business to discuss about is this, police.
Because we know Canby takes over, works 99E, so why are we coming to go through the state police 911
Yeah, I
person?
don't know how we're gonna have an effect on that.
But we could have,
I don't know,
maybe
but I mean,
Officer Miller can explain why it has to go through.
Good job on your good citizen
Yeah.
duty.
Yeah, that'd be a good question to ask Officer Smith next.
Hey, Bob.
And then the second was, just let's finish with this, and then you're next. The mix up and then the streets, road.
The street signs are terrible. Because my husband and I were looking at it, because you don't really pay attention until you're actually in an emergency situation, you're like, you're going.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have that for.
And then the only other thing I wanted to know if I can make a motion to have a conversation the next month or so regarding the right turn only, is it Oliver Insurance, they're at Turfway? Is it right past on Ivy?
Oh, the right turn, you want a right turn?
No, I want right turn only.
You want it from
Yeah.
out of Thriftway or out of?
It's definitely the one on the Oliver side, because it's 2 lanes of traffic and you cannot see.
So in other words, you're on First Street and Oliver Insurance is here and Ivy's.
I don't think
here.
people should be able to go straight.
No, I would agree
Is
with
it
that.
99?
No.
No, so for First Avenue here to get to Thriftway.
Oh,
There's
the
other
other
lanes of traffic.
on First,
You
not on Ivy.
cannot see, you cannot see the person coming if there's 2 cars there.
Yeah, we did that down at Elm. Right turn only.
And we were waiting to have that discussion until after the
We
quiet
did
zone
that
was completed, I think.
And then the quiet zone's completed.
So
Yeah.
only right turn only?
That was due mostly due to the misalignment of the road, getting people to leave.
Yeah. It is hard to get across. It's
Because if there's 2 cars there, you cannot see until you're.
It's not so bad doing off hours, but doing rush hour, it is just.
That would be an agenda item for another meeting.
Yeah, I think that CIP, adding that to the CIP when
Yeah.
we put our meeting there, if that's okay. Does that sound okay, Jackie?
I don't, is it a CIP?
It's not a CIP thing.
I think it's
So
more
so you're
about,
saying no through traffic?
You're wanting a right turn only, right?
yeah,
Stop
I just
signs.
want to add a sign.
Yeah, that's not CIP discussion, that's the next agenda item. Or next.
Okay, well, let's put it on the agenda with
Do I need a
the
motion
road
for that?
signs and police calls, okay? All right, Eric?
The only, I have no new subjects. The only input that I have would be on the, regarding the dispatching problem. That's going to be, an operational procedure that dispatchers do, no matter what. OSP has jurisdiction on that, even though not Canby patrols it. They have to, forward it over to, OSP dispatch first for their priority. And if it's too low of a priority, then they can dispatch it to whoever.
They're always so far away.
Yeah, I thank you for the clarity. I think that's the problem, but because there's not enough state police officers on that stretch of road. And so
I just don't know why they can't just call ahead of the Canby and say, hey, this person's coming.
here's a problem. Okay, we'll discuss that further. Drunk drivers are really, it's amazing. Okay, got 2 minutes. Bob's commentary. Do you know how many accidents there have been on, and people driving the wrong side of a freeway?
Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm just amazed at how many people are entering the freeway and continuing. It's one thing if you got on the on-ramp and you're in the wrong way, but they continue to drive.
Like you didn't figure it out.
Yeah.
You hear of one of those accidents at least twice a month. Unbelievable.
I'm just surprised at how many DUIs can be, 16 a month or something.
Oh, yeah, half our bars. Churches.
Is there anything else that people want to talk about?
No.
We have covered a lot.
We used to end this meeting at 10.
Bless your guys' heart. Thank you very much. I need to talk to Deanne about next month's meeting. I may not be able to make it next month.
Oh, okay.
I will be out of the country. And so,
Anybody else want to
I mean,
sign
yeah.
this?
Bye. Take care, everyone.
I'll get that
Bye.
Bye.
done for you, but if you-
Yeah, no, it should be fine. I'm